The DC animated universe has been massively appealing to me on the quality front, despite a few bumps in the road like The Killing Joke or Batman and Harley Quinn for example. We now have a new film, the adaptation of the classic 1992 arc, The Death of Superman. I'm sure DC animated fans will be asking the simple question of what is the point of this movie? We already have The Death of Superman, right, with Superman Doomsday, but I think if we're being frank, DC probably was disappointed with their first shot of The Death of Superman with that movie. Superman Doomsday really never establishes the time to really care about Superman's death. That was just an abridged, strung together mess, really trying to juggle the Reign of Superman arc as well in a 1 hour slot. It really didn't do justice to any of the source material. That is why Superman Doomsday is a weaker movie. I think it's ironic, since we're speaking about justice, since the Justice League wasn't in Superman Doomsday, driving the point further that it was an abridged version of the source material that didn't really respect those origins. Doomsday battles the Justice League in the comic, from what I remember, as an appetizer before he confronts Superman, so that part is missing in the movie. All the talk about Superman Doomsday aside, I'm appeased to tell everyone that The Death of Superman is an absolutely fantastic DCAU movie from start to finish. It wipes the slate clean of Superman Doomsday, allowing the viewer to spend time with Clark and his secret identity. His relationship with Lois Lane and how this secrecy, how the weight of being a superhero is impeding on his life is one of the focal points of this movie, along with the civilians being thoroughly attached to the hope Superman brings. That's why it's so devastating when the inevitable happens based on the title alone and Doomsday reaches his location on Earth. It's a logical mental breakdown that occurs when people start to figure out that Superman probably can't even stop this monstrosity. The animation, for lack of better words, is literally orgasmic. Every punch, every vicious scream, every blood-gushing fight, every particular piece of lighting, everything conveyed with high-speed movement is done with a particular finesse that shouldn't go unprecedented. This movie looks incredible. I would argue that this is one of the best looking, best animated DCAU movies to date. Blood, sweat, and tears went into putting this city, Metropolis, in absolute peril. The city streets are destroyed in vast detail. These fights are amazing to see. The whole Doomsday Superman fight sequence has to be about at least 20 to 30 minutes long, and it's absolute carnage in every frame. It's amazing to see all the work that the animators poured their life into to make this a visual spectacle when it comes to special effects and sheer mayhem. Now, one thing people might notice is that this film is not entirely one for one when it comes to the comic book source material, although I will say it's a lot more accurate than Superman Doomsday. Liberties certainly were taken and things were adjusted to fit in this whole New 52 aesthetic when it comes to the characters. So I think those people expecting 100% comic book accuracy, no corners cut, no liberties, no changes, I think those people will be kind of disappointed with this movie. That being said, you won't see stuff like old school Justice League members getting wailed on like Guy Gardner, the original Green Lantern, Booster Gold, Maxima, Fire, Ice, etc. You won't see that, and I think people might also scratch their head when it comes to the Lois and Superman relationship, considering that this takes place in the New 52 continuity, so Superman and Wonder Woman had a falling out. Instead of crapping on the source material though, I think DC knew what they were doing here, and all these interpersonal relationships serve to enhance the story, serve to make Superman's death much more impactful to all the characters involved. If I had a lingering nitpick in this movie, it would be the portrayal of Lex Luthor. Don't get me wrong, he isn't a spastic Riddler wannabe pencil neck geek like Jesse Eisenberg was. Eisenberg is like the lowest of the totem pole when it comes to Lex Luthor, but when it comes to this one, I think his voice didn't fit him. He wasn't an intimidating menace that came off as a thorn in Superman's side, because they barely have screen time together in this movie, which is something I think that was done poorly. I think this Lex was dull, drab, and not really too memorable. I think Eisenberg was hyper annoying. That's why that role bugged me so much. But this Lex was just boring, but he wasn't really a detriment to the entire movie itself. I just think that the actor was miscast in the role. But like I said, that's just a nitpick for me. In closing, I think people who are fans of the adaptation originally, or fans of Superman in general, will find this movie to be a treat. It's an apex. It has high quality acting, animation, expansive side stories, a somewhat faithful rendition, references to Superman and other mediums. This movie has it all. It actually makes you care about Superman despite all the liberties taken so far, even if it's not officially released yet. And unfortunately this movie was leaked ahead of time. It's something that you should spend your money on. This is a movie you want in your Blu-ray collection to enjoy time and time again. I've been an advocate of the DCAU so far, and the death of Superman, in my personal opinion, gets a high and worthy praise of a 9 out of 10. You must watch this movie. It's a worthy addition to the Superman mythos. It plants the seeds early for Reign of the Supermen, or if you like to call it Return of the Superman, that's fine. And I cannot wait until Reign comes out next year. This is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my review of the DCAU version of Death of Superman, and you take care. See you later, and peace out.